Tore, can you tell us how you got involved and came to be at the First World Romani Congress?
Oh, it's a long story. I was active in the Roma movement from 1963 when I joined the Zigenarsamfundet, the Gypsy Society in Stockholm, with the writer and activist Katarina Taikan. And after that, I went to Moscow. I was working as a journalist, and I was visiting the Theatre Romain, the Roma theatre. And after some time, I married an actress, a star of the Romani theatre, Raisa Udovikova. And we went to Norway with her 2 children, a boy and a girl. And she took the stage name Raya only. And then we went to Paris. I was working as her manager. And I was looking for musicians for her recording at the Barclay Company. And I found 2 very young boys and very talented, Slobodan and Petro. And they started to play with us. And then they presented me to their father, Žarko Jovanovic, who later wrote the text of the Jelem Jelem. And my stepdaughter, Natasha, she became involved with Petro, and she later became the Bori, the daughter-in-law of Žarko. And so when we went to Paris, we brought with us 2 other musicians from Paris, Andrei Shistopalov and Goga Partog. And as far as I know, we paid the tickets ourselves to go to London. And it started when one evening, Žarko came to the Cabaret Étoile de Moscou, where I was working, and he brought a young Englishman, an English guy named Grattan Paxson with him. And they wanted us to join his work and to go to London to take part in the festival. And I should be an organizer and she should be a star of the show. And we immediately agreed, and I arranged for the travel. And we went to London. We were met then by Žarko. He took us to the school in Orpington, where we met all the delegates at the time. But then we had to go back to London to prepare our participation of the festival at Hampstead Heath. And we got in contact with a gypsy orchestra from one of the restaurants in London. It's a Hungarian Roma playing, and we invited them to come as well. And at the festival, Žarko was playing with his 2 sons and our 2 friends, and it was a very great experience for us. And I think it's the first time that in the UK you heard Russian Roma music from the Theatre Romain, which Raya presented with her musicians. And I was very much impressed by the work that had been done in advance by Žarko and the other people who organized the festival. For instance, there was a wedding, and I think they were burning a tent in memory of the Holocaust victims, the Roma Holocaust victims, which was very, very, it wasn't known at all that the Roma also were the victims of the Holocaust. And it was very, very interesting to meet the different kind of Roma music at this festival. I think it's one of the few examples of this East-West meeting of Roma in London at the time. And we discovered that our coming to London was a part of what you in an article have called the coup d'etat of Grattan Paxson, because so many participants who were coming to the festival and to the conference, that he made it into a congress instead. And one of the reasons was the festival, I think, that so many people came. And so we were unknowingly part of the coup d'etat. And later we were very proud of being part of it. So we gave birth to the Congress, I think, in this way. And later I've been working in the Roma movement. Now I'm still working actively. And Raya is working, she has a festival in Oslo every year with musicians from different countries coming. And her daughter, Natasha, who also went with us to London, she is now the director of this festival called Jagori.
That was all very revelatory to them. I didn't know your family connections with Jako Jovanovic before, but it all kind of makes sense.
And you know, his two grandsons, Petro, Aleko and Nikak, they are living in Norway now. So
I didn't know that.
No, yeah, they are working with Raya and
Wow.
on stage.
That's wonderful. That is again a convergence of traditions. I wonder if I could just ask you about the atmosphere of the festival itself. It was on Parliament Hill Fields, so there was a kind of almost a natural amphitheatre from the hill, which made it possible for people to look down on the stage.
On the stage, I put a bardo in on the stage, and the artist performed in front of the bardo. First, you know, Raya was the star of the Theatre Romani in Moscow. And when she came to the West, she was shocked by the racism and the persecution of the Roma in the West, because in the Soviet Union, the Roma were very popular, especially the artists of the Theatre Romani. And this was quite different from the attitude towards Roma in the West. And you know, even as you know, the Theatre Romani took part in the Second World War as in resistance. They sent groups of artists to the front to perform, and this also heightened the authority and the love of the Roma among the Russians and other Soviet people. And when we came to the West, she was shocked by it, as I mentioned, and she started to work to improve the conditions in Scandinavia and later all over Europe. We went on tours and talking about the Roma history, Roma destiny, and Roma culture. When we went to London, I think this is the first time that she presented the music of the Ruska Roma in UK. And it was a meeting then of different Roma groups and different Roma music.
To me, it was incredible that there were so many people there for a Romani festival. There'd never been an event of that magnitude featuring Romani culture for 80 or 90 years, since the late Victorian period.
And I think it was a unique event. And the atmosphere was very, very friendly. And but you know, the people who came to there, they came from so many countries, from the east and west of the Iron Curtain, and they didn't know each other, or very few knew each other in advance. So this meeting at Hampstead Heath was a continuation of the Congress and the spirit of the Congress. And as I told you, that we discovered later, and we didn't know at the time, we discovered later that we were the part of what you have called a coup d'etat by Grattan Tuxton, who managed to change the conference in front of the festival into the World Roma Congress. And we are very proud of being a part of it, having given birth to this very, very important event. They burnt a tent at the festival, and this tent was specially made to memorize the victims, the Roma victims of the Holocaust, Poraimos. And at that time, very, very few people knew that the Roma also had been victims of the Holocaust. So I think this was very, very important. And then there was a wedding, a Roma wedding, and this was also a symbol of people coming together and to unite in a new unit. And everything was very, very, how can I say, in the spirit of the Congress: unite, 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 and fight, and fight, and fight. So I think that the festival was very important. In itself, it was very important. And as an opportunity to change the conference into Congress, it was very, very important. So I'm very proud of having been part of it.